Okay. So, yeah, yesterday what we discussed. Yesterday we discussed about like what exactly the fight is. Right, we checked in the detail why the fire requirement and why it is needed. So today we'll see. See now, F5 has multiple modules. Okay, modules and just like how in Palo Alto we will have a licenses, right? So on the same hardware we will use a license of what is called license of threat prevention and URL filtering licenses on the same hardware. Similarly, if I will have a one box, okay, in one box you need to purchase a licenses from the F5. So that licenses need to be installed on that particular hardware. Okay. Similarly, if you recall yourself the Palo Alto firewall, the firewall is the same, hardware is the same, and licenses you need to purchase separate licenses. So hardware you need to purchase and separately license you need to purchase. So here when we talk about the LTM means local traffic manager, load balancer, which we are talking about. So here we are going to focus on the LTM. And there is one more module called GTM that is used for the DNS. Okay. So we'll see, and when we say the F5, so F5 is called a big IP. Okay, yesterday we have discussed that. F5 called as a big IP. So big IP load balancer, and here what we are learning under the F5, we are learning the module called LTM, because F5 have the module for the firewall as well. F5 can be used as a remote access VPN as well. So they have client as well. So many things, but we are interested to see the LTM, F5 LTM, local traffic manager. Where yesterday we discussed it does a load balancing between two servers, two or more than two servers, right? So we'll see what about the installation, administration, and configuration of this. So yesterday we discussed the evaluation. So it is also called application delivery control. Okay, so that is nothing but application delivery control. So you are running an application. So how that application can be accessible? That can be controlled from the, that is called actually the load balancer. So primary um, like use of this one is scalability, high availability, and predictability. So these are the primary drives to summarize this. So in the beginning, yesterday we discussed we used to use the DNS, like for the two different server we used to like if some server down, so we use a DNS. We change the DNS directory and we can use that URL. So, but the DNS there was a problem with it. And the load balancer, it is also available in the software as well. Like you can install the, you can use some Microsoft server load balancing method and you can use that as well. Okay, but that is not more effective. But F5 load balancer is very good. So you can see this is your internet. Okay, this is your client. Okay, and when it go here, so actual from internet or LAN, whatever it is. So the user will, the first request from the user, it will hit to one connection will come to F5. And what F5 will do, actually the user is interested to go here. Okay, he is interested to access this one. Okay, but that is, he cannot be accessed directly. F5 is there. So one connection user to F5, okay, and F5 to the backend server. That is the another connection. F5 will take the another connection on behalf of user. So to the backend server, F5 is the guy. So the the, the source for this request will be not, see this guy is the behind, he will not come into picture. He will make a connection with F5, and then he will make a connection with F5 that I want to use this particular URL. Okay, this particular URL on this particular port. Okay, let's say port 80. So on behalf of this guy, F5 will make another this one, connection, and on the same thing. Okay, one second. Okay, so two connections. One connection is closing to F5, then F5 to the backend server. Okay, so and from the user end, he will hit to the virtual server, and the virtual server, yesterday we discussed, a virtual server, it will bind to the pool. Okay, pool, and under that pool, this multiple servers will be under multiple nodes will be in that pool. So we will see that. So this is how the network based load balancer hardware is. Okay, so see, this is the Gartner report. Okay, this report is 2015, but even still also F5 is the leader. See, and yes, while learning Palo Alto, I have shown you, right, the Palo Alto is the leaders in the firewall. Similarly, this is the one. So there are multiple vendors like Citrix is there. Okay, sorry, I got a call. So so this is the Gardner report, and this Gardner report is for uh, multiple vendor who made the load balancer. So you can see hardware, Citrix is there, A10 networks is there, Barracuda, and many vendors are there, right? So but F5 is it is in the leader. That's why we learn that. So architecture of the overview. So F5, it is also called the power of one. Okay, power of one means it give application delivery control, and it has F5 traffic manager management operating system is TMOS operating system. Okay, remember, Cisco has iOS, right? Palo Alto has PanOS. Now F5 use the TMOS operating system. Okay, remember this point. Then F5 is, as I said, it is available in multiple modules. See, you can buy any F5 hardware. Okay, any F5 hardware, and on that hardware, what you want to run, you need to buy the license. Okay, you want to use the F5 for the load balancer, then take the traffic manager. You want to run the F5 for the GTM or DNS for the DNS entry, like if the same Windows server is used for the DNS service, the same thing you can use F5 as a DNS. Application firewall manager, you can use that. Access policy manager, you can use that. Security manager, and application acceleration manager. So these are the different modules, and few more also came. Okay, so here we are interested to see this one, traffic manager. So this is more famous and more mostly used, LTM and the GTM. So what F5 do, if F5 does, it ensure the application is available always, fast, and it is secure. So they use the three rule. Up also, okay, this is the F5. Okay, behind the F5, these are the backend servers. Okay, these are the servers, and the application is actually working here. So when the user hit here, so it will actually it will what is called, it will hit the F5. Then F5 does a monitoring of this backend server. Okay, and it will keep this monitoring server, it will keep monitor, and it does the load balancing. If two user send the traffic at the same time, so one request will go to this server, one request will go to this server, and again. So this is called load by using the load balancing method. So by default, the if you use the round robin, then one request will go to this server, one request will go to this server. So like this, F5 does a load balancing. Okay. So these are the hardware module. It start from this can be changed 11,000, then 8900, then 5000 series. These are the Viprion. This is called, is the highest one, and then 4000 series, 7000 series. So different hardware module available. So depend on what level of application, what level of traffic, how big organization you are. So depend on that, you can buy the platforms, hardware platforms. Okay. So these are again some more hardware platforms available. So you can see this the same, the updated one on the F5 site. Go to hardware, and yesterday we have checked that. You can see that. Okay. So F5 having some chassis based F5 as well, that is called a Viprion chassis. So it will be like this also. So these are called the module. So this is called a chassis, and it will be, these are the blades. Okay. So it will be available. So it will be very like high performance application delivery control, very high performance device, Viprion. Okay, so Viprion, okay, this module, you can see the 4U. When we say the 4U means a rack U. So this device required 4 rack unit to connect it. So it's a bigger hardware module. F5 can be available in the blades as well. So this blade can be, you can replace the blade, you can change the blade. So this is again, see, this is a 7U. This particular hardware is a 7RU. So it required 7 unit of that rack. When we say the rack means, so this is the rack will have a 42U. So in that, the 7U will take this particular hardware. So while planning, designing of the data center, we need to think about this one. So how many, based on the number of devices, like switches, which switch you are taking, what number of U the switch required. So based on that, you need to purchase the racks as well. How many racks, or you will have a router, switches, firewall. So those all stuff, load balancer, you will have a servers in your data center. So you need to think about everything, and based on that, you need to design the so there is a, that comes under the network designing and planning and designing stuff. Okay. Then this is also Viprion blade. So these are some hardware modules. Okay. It is also available in virtual module, virtual edition. Okay, you can use the um, F5 in a virtual edition. Okay. So now we are interested to talk about the LTM, local traffic management. Okay. So it does a load balancing. What is a load balancing? Let's say one guy, now the load is being distributed, but how do I better utilize faster servers? Let's say load is there. Okay, now this is the F5, and you have two backend server here. Okay, and how do I do a faster like load balancing is there, but how can I use more faster? So now you will have a load balancing methods. So these are the load balancing method. There are two methods called static. One is a round robin, and one is a ratio. And when we talk about the dynamic, so least connection, faster, observe, predictive, and the dynamic ratio. So these are comes under load balancing method. So why the load balancing method come, where when it is come? This is your F5. Okay, this is your F5. Okay, and in the back end you have, let's say, two servers. Okay, and the traffic is coming to the F5. Let's say multiple users are hitting to access that particular virtual server on the F5. So when it comes, so how the load can be balanced? How the F5 will know that I can send this three packets to three connection to this guy, or two connection to this guy. So that decision, that called a load balancing method. Load balancing. Okay. So that is called a load balancing method. So these are the multiple methods. Like in the routing, if you remember, see, all this load balancing method does the same thing. They will give, it is your option to give the F5 that okay, use this one. Round robin, when I say the round robin, let's say you have four users, they are accessing the same application, same URL. So two connection, if you use the round robin, so first connection will send here, second will be here, okay, third will be here, and fourth will be here. Okay, so this is how the load balancing. Similarly, ratio you can define in the ratio, let's say 2 raised to 1. So this is, you can define that 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 1. So in the 2 raised to 1 means, let's say your this server hardware capability is higher. Let's say it has 8 GB RAM and this it has a 4 GB RAM. So in that case, if you use the load equal load balancing, then this server can have more impact. So in that case, let's say the first server you said it is a more powerful, then you can use the ratio 2 by 2, 2 by 1. So out of 3 requests, 2 requests will go to this server which is higher, and 1 request will go to this guy. So like this you can control the backend servers, the requests and all. Okay. So these are the options. So let's talk about the static method, round robin. Okay, round robin method. So these are the clients. They hit to F5 virtual server, and when we say, see, these are the 4 servers, 1, 2, 3, 4 servers, and all 4 servers, the same application will be run. Yesterday we gave the example, right? Let's say that time base. So there is one particular URL. So the same thing will be hosted here, 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 and here, all 4 servers. Actual URL will be here. 4 different IP addresses of the server. 192.162.10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4. And the instead of, but for the user end, they will but user need one single URL, right, to hit that. So that URL we will configure here on the F5. That is called a virtual server. Okay, and these are called pool members. These all 4 are the pool members. We created one pool. Under that pool we created these members. So the client request distributed evenly. See, you have a 6 requests, the first go here, second, third, fourth, then again fifth request here, 6, 7, 8. So this method use called as a round balance, round robin. So the question here is, okay, not here, one second, ratio. Yeah, we have to see the ratio as well. Round robin and then ratio. Okay, now the see here ratio. So you have a 4 servers. Okay, 4 servers. You have given ratio 3 raised to 2 raised to 1 raised to 1. So now see here. Now the first packet will come here. Okay, second will go here, third will go here, fourth will go here. But the fifth again here, 6 here, then 7 here, 8 here, then 9 here. So like this, this is a higher server, this is a second higher server, these servers are low. So you can see here, out of 12 packets, 2 packet only came here, 2 packet came here. Rest of the this guy having the more packets, more connections, right? These are called members, right? So these two ratio methods are there. So we will think. So there is one question, ratio member load balancing. Okay, that is question answer we can talk later. Okay, but I'm more interested to show you something called there are some there are some it has given some member and all. Okay, here this is important. Okay, load balancing. So when we talk load balancing, so there is something called pool members and the node. Okay, pool members and what is called the node. So I'm just looking for one slide so which can explain very better. Is I'm missing some slide? I'm just thinking, is it the same? Because in F5, um, there are some terminologies. That terminology slide I'm unable to see that. Maybe I need to check that again. Okay, so there are three terminologies we used. Okay, yesterday we discussed, but today we can see in detail. So one is a virtual server. Okay, that is called a virtual server. Okay, virtuals behind the virtual server there will be a pool. Okay, pool means under that pool, and behind the pool there will be a nodes. Okay, node means these are the actually your backend server. This is when node means it is just IP address. When you attach some port to that let's say port 80, so that will become pool member. So what we do is we create one pool, we assign node to the pool, and this pool will be bi bind to the virtual server. So what will happen, this F5 what it does is it does a load balancing here, and it keep sending load balancing, and it also does a monitoring of the virtual servers. Because if suppose this virtual server went down, how F5 will know that? Because F5 will keep monitoring this, it will keep sending there will be some monitoring method. So F5 does a load balancing when the traffic come, and if parallelly F5 does a monitoring of the backend servers, which server is up and which server is down. So you can define that method. So when we are learning the F5, so learning with F5 means you need to create the node, you need to create the pool, you need to create the virtual servers, then you need to create what is the load balancing method, you need to create what is the monitoring methods F5 can use. So this understanding is the F5 required. Okay, see that. I'm looking for one slide. Just a second. Just, just looking for something. Okay, that's fine. So now we understand some basics of the F5. Like F5 need a virtual server. F5 need what is called okay. So here we will see F5. Okay. So what we can do? So the first thing is first the F5 need to be connected to the cloud internet. Okay, and here you will have some F5 like the same like updates.follow.network.com, right? So similarly the F5 URL is there. Okay, so this is your F5 box. So how we do the initial things? So F5 box hardware. Okay, so the first thing was what we need to do is we need to do purchase a license. So what we do is we take a license from the this one, and this box it has to be connect to the internet. So from the internet it will go here, and manually we need to take the licenses and install here. So it will become okay. Let's say you have purchased LTM license. So once you install the LTM license, so this box will become LTM. Okay, so we will tomorrow we will see the how the F5 looks and all, but today we are just trying to understand what are the pieces, bits and pieces required here. Okay, then what F5 is related? So F5 doesn't see which switch it is connected, is it a core switch, access switch, which router it is connected. It doesn't look at that. Okay, but if I was more interested to see this is one. So now it is more interested. It is like a if I will between user and the server. Okay, the user will be here, this side, and the same like a firewall, but it will not block that user and the servers. So you will have a multiple servers here, and on that server some application will be run there, some application. Okay, so what, when the user comes, so multiple users they are coming here, right? So they will hit, we will create a virtual servers here on that file, virtual servers. And the on F5 does multiple things. Okay, one thing is when the user traffic comes, so it will equally load balance by using the multiple methods, which just now we have seen that round robin is there, ratio is there are, and from the dynamic there are many methods are there. Tomorrow we'll see that those methods. So though that is the load balancing methods. Now similarly F5 does monitoring as well. Monitoring of what? The first thing, let me write down here. um, what F5 does, the first thing is load balancing. Load balancing of traffic among backend server. So you have four servers, so it will equally, so which method you use, ratio, then we have just seen it will give you the higher model will have like higher hardware server will have more request, and the lower less than lower, like this. Similarly it does another thing that is called monitor. If I you need to use the monitor. So monitor what means, what it does, monitoring of mo, 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 monitoring monitoring of backend server. It will keep, it is not only sending the traffic, it will also check is the server is available or not. You can do monitoring via ping. Okay, ICMP ping. So it will keep pinging in the some particular interval, it will keep pinging these servers. If any of the server down, so it will give you that this server is down. So still, so what will happen, while sharing the load balancing, it will not share to this server, it will keep sharing to this server. So till that time you will have a time, because your service is not impacted. So you will have a time to repair this server and fix this issue. Okay, but you will still you will have a third two and one, this three servers available. So that is the monitoring. Okay, apart from this in the monitoring again some types are there. You can do ICMP, you can do port check, or you can do the URL check, content check monitoring as well. You can do like if suppose there is some URL, so you can uh, give some content of that URL. So if I will keep checking that particular content is available or not, because sometimes what will happen, the server will be available but application will have some problem. So if application is not working, let's say application hosted on 443 and there is some certificate issue happen, so that application will went down. So if I will keep monitoring that particular application, if 443 port service went down, so if I will mark it is a node is down, the pool member is down, and it will not consider it is into load balancing, and it will keep sending these three guys. So when you get alert, okay, this guy is showing red and remaining three are green, green. So for this virtual server, these are the pools. So green means, so it will not say red means there is some problem with. So if I was unable to do the monitoring for this server, so you need to go and fix that. What is the issue? You need to check with the server team. You need to check, go and individually check this server URL if it is working or not. If it is not working, then you need to inform the application team that this F5 is showing this health monitor is showing that it is not working. So they will check and they will restart the service. They will check their application and they will set. So once it is come back, then automatically you will see when F5 is able to do, then again it will also green. So out of this, so these are called a pool. So F5 use multiple colors. Tomorrow we will see that. Green means available, red means down. Okay, so pool members will be there. Okay, so for today, remember this thing: load balancing method and the monitoring. Apart from this, there are few enhancements, some advanced topics called I rule. I rule is there, and what is called some more thing. Okay, so apart from this, this is a LTM capability. Okay, but meanwhile, F5 is a network device as well. Just talk about the F5 network device. It is no doubt it is a network device working on the layer 7 because it understands which application running behind the backend. So the similarly Palo Alto firewall is also application firewall, application based firewall, which understand you remember that when the traffic go pass from the firewall, so you will see that application name. It is a Facebook, it is a SSL application, it is a web browsing. So that understanding is called as a application based firewall, layer 7. So now F5 is a layer 7 device. So it does again networking is involved here. So what networking is required? The first thing is F5 will have uh, console port and the management port. Every device you will see console port and the management port. Okay, the console port you can go. It will blue cable. You can go and connect here, and you can use the console. Or you can use the management port directly. You can go here. By default there will be some the same like a Palo Alto, same like you can connect your laptop, use the IP address here. So there will be default some IP address will be there in the F5. You can just go and browse it HTTPS and that particular IP, and you can start licensing and all. You can do it from here initially. So one is a management port. Apart from this, F5 will have some interfaces. Okay, some interfaces will be there. So one interface, let's say one interface you connect to user side, and one interface you connect to the backend side. Okay. So also here some terminals. So here we need to use the we use some IP addresses as well. There are some terminologies that we will see once like floating IP is there, self IP is there. So self IP means okay. So let's say this your F5. Okay, this side is the user, this side is the service. Okay, so what we do is, and let's say this side servers are there, right, where our pool members will be there. Okay, and this side users are there. Okay, so on the interfaces we need to say that specify that there is something called self IP. Self IP, this side and as well as this side self IP. So what is the self IP is? Self IP will be belongs to the same network. Unit, it will be the same network. No self IP. So also you can do a static routing as well. Static routing, default routing. If suppose the users are from coming from internet, so what you can do is this side you can view a default route to the internet. And this side, let's say you have servers or a network is having, let's say 192.168.10.0. This is the network. So this side you can view route saying that 192.168.7 it is sitting here, and the self IP will be from the same subnet. So self IP will use that. Okay. So and there is one more concept called floating IP in the F5. So that also we will discuss that. So today I'm just giving you some bits and pieces. Some what are the important things we need to understand in the F5. Okay. There are some terminologies which we understand. The first thing is virtual server, virtual servers. Okay, then we understand and the virtual server will have then pool. Okay, and this pool actually in the pool there will be pool members, pool members, pool members, and there will be nodes, right? So virtual server, pool, nodes, right? So these are the three things which required to create any application network. Then another thing, when we talk about the load balancing, then we know F5 does has the load balancing method, load balancing methods, right? Similarly, F5 has monitoring methods, like it does a monitoring, right? Similarly, F5 has a networking stuff as well. Let's say F5 does networking means you will have a management port, MGMT port is required. Then you will have what is called static route. Static routing you can do a default routing, right? Then F5 is required a self IP to reach the backend server. Okay, so back and we understand that there will be a backend server uh, pool is required there. Backend server will be because because what is called F5, it is a layer 7 device, right? So it is a network device as well. It does a networking part as well. It will understand the it will have a routing table, routing table. It understands the MAC address and the IP address, MAC and the IP. Also, it understands the ARP address. ARP means a combination of IP and MAC, right? Routing table will be there, MAC understandable MAC address. So it does a networking part. It does a load balancing part. It does it create the virtual servers and all, and it has a very beautiful graphical interface. F5 GUI is very beautiful. F5 we use, okay, it can use as a GUI as well as plus CLI. GUI and CLI means you can by command line you can configure that. It will be, and which operating system F5 has? F5 has TMOS operating system, right? And we also checked F5 available in the F5 modules. What are the modules? Many modules are there, like LTM, local traffic manager, LTM. Then you will see GTM. Okay. Then you have some firewall capability, some application control, and also many modules are there. So you need to, and we also saw that you need a licensing. F5 does a licensing as well. Licenses. So you need to purchase that license, right? So these are the bits and pieces. F5, the first thing, F5 can be accessible. It has the uh, console and the management interfaces. F5 can be accessible GUI, CLI. It has the TMOS. It has the multiple. It has the required licenses. You can buy. You can take multiple license in the same hardware. You can buy. You can make that hardware as a LTM hardware as well as the GTM hardware. Okay, it's up to you. And these are the networking part. It does the networking part, and it does, these are the load balancing specialties. So these are the unique thing. This thing you will not see in the firewall, but these things you can see. If you compare with the Palo Alto firewall, you will see the cloud licenses, the networking part, and GUI, these all are the same. But only thing is you cannot the Palo Alto firewall, like if you compare the Palo Alto firewall, so it has a apart from networking skills, it has the understanding of threat prevention and all. You know, the Palo Alto, sorry, F5 does a threat prevention as well. You need to purchase a license for that. F5 can be, you can configure terminate a VPN as well. you can terminate remote access VPN as well on the F5. So there will be a F5 client, and you can use that as. So F5, you can use F5 as a F5 module for the firewall as well. Instead of if you don't have a Palo Alto firewall, you can use F5 as a firewall. But every vendor has some speciality. So F5, they are best in like what I have seen in my career. So they are best in the LTM and the GTM. LTM, the local traffic manager, pool, virtual servers, and the nodes. Okay, and when we talk about the GTM, it is nothing but the DNS. Like generally, what will happen in your LAN? You will have multiple. So the servers, if suppose this server, it is having one IP address. Okay, that IP you can make it to, you can view the name. So this particular server can, if suppose this guy want to access that IP, so instead of IP he can view the name. So this IP to name, this is called a DNS service. And who does this DNS service? So generally Microsoft, on the Microsoft server, in the when you install Microsoft server, so you will have a DNS service there. You can use that DNS service there. So it does IP to name conversion. So instead of, if you don't want to use the Microsoft server, you can use the F5 LTM GTM. It does the same thing. It does the same thing for IP to. It does the same thing. You can create what is called IP to name. You can do A record, L record. Multiple records will be there, right? NS lookup, those things. Even F5 you can use, or what you can do is, few organizations I have seen, they use Microsoft server for internal DNS, and they use F5 GTM for external DNS. You will have public servers as well, right? So you can use F5 GTM for the public. So there is some. So GTM is nothing but this service is for DNS service, GTM. Okay, and LTM, it is the local traffic manager. And when you buy a firewall capability, then you will have a different tab to create the policies and all. Okay, tomorrow we will have a look on the F5 GUI, how it look like and all. Okay, so regarding F5 labs. Okay, so when we talk about the F5 lab, so there is something called yeah, there is some license. The first thing is, you need F5 VM. You can run F5 on the VMware. Okay, you can, like how you install the Palo Alto by using OVA file. So similarly, you can F5 OVA download. So you can see product trial, and also you can 90 days. There is a trial version. So this time you no need to go and search for anything. So you can use here 90 days trial. So you need to create get a free 90 days trial for Big IP with Big IP Virtual Edition, Big IP Cloud Edition. So just go here. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. I'm really sorry for that. Really sorry for that. Okay. So what I did is, I just search here F5 OVA download. So you can see here product trial. Get a free 90 days trial version. You can download this. So what you can do is, go to the product trial F5. So it will take you to the F5. Okay. Then here you can see 6. So 90 days trial version you can download from here. So if you go here, so you can see 6 trial option to meet your needs. So what you want, you want a Big IP Cloud Edition or Big IP. If you are interested here, so centralized management, data management, local traffic manager. What do you want? I'm looking for Big IP local traffic manager. It include actually centralized management. So you know the F5, like how the Panorama is centralized management, right, for Palo Alto firewall. Similarly, big IQ, it is a centralized device for the F5s. Like if you think about larger MNC, where you will have uh, 50, 60, hundreds of F5s. So those can be managed centralized via big IQ. Big IQ is nothing but a centralized management. See another terminology we adopt. So centralized management, big IQ. It does the same thing what big IQ, what Panorama does. So centralized management, you can push and deploy. Here we've not pushed, we deploy here. So now see here it is asking get started. So go to this URL trial f5.com trials and get the free trial. Okay. So get your 30-day free trial started. So login or register first. You need to login, register, then request for key. Okay, once you request for key, then you need to download and software install and launch it big virtually. So 4 steps are required there. So you need a VMware. On VMware we will install that. Okay. So like if you have a VMware, try this on your laptop today, else tomorrow we will discuss on this. Okay. Try आपको जो like create a register account. It will be free register account you need to create here. Okay. And try this like first login, register and request for the key. I think they will you need to send email or something. See, once you're logged in, you will be promoted to pick a trial type, number of licenses you want. Your order will be delivered via email you use to create your support account. See, the email ID which you register, right? So once you request here, you will get a confirmation email. A download link will become there. The support, so they will give you, okay, this is your trial license. You can install it. So that download link. So now the next is while you are waiting for your key, you can download the software. Just pick your hypervisor to start the download. Okay, you use the key unlock and we need to insert that key to unlock the big IP setting, and then you can start with the F5 configuration. So this is a free version they have given, but the same service I never I don't see the Palo Alto also giving some what is called a trial version, but I never use that. But this one I tried. So you will get some 90 days of free license, but nowadays I am seeing here it is 30 days. But I picked last time it was 90 days. Maybe they increase later or reduce recently, not sure. But these are the options. So today you try this, try to register to the F5 and get the trial license and see what will happen. Okay, and tomorrow we will talk on that, and I will walk you through with the F5 GUI, how the F5 looks and all. But these are the bits and pieces, and I will tell you like how you, if you are a GUI lover, like if you like a GUI, like if you like a Palo Alto firewall, then obviously you will like a F5. Why? Because F5 is again very beautiful GUI, graphical interface. It looks very pretty. So clearly you can see the color codes, which servers are under that backend server, the color combination and all, and the graphical picture, the reporting and all, and the traffic. It looks very good. So tomorrow, wait for tomorrow to have a look on the F5, first look of the F5. Okay, but today you need to go and uh, try this trial lessons. Okay, we'll talk tomorrow. Okay, that's all I had for today. We'll continue tomorrow. So any questions, any suggestions?